So apparently my parents talk about a lot of heavy stuff on their podcast. Listen at your own discretion. Like, comment, subscribe, and share or whatever. Anyways, welcome to Sobriety.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Ryan. This is Jess. We are sober as fuck. Before we get to today's guest, I do want to remind everybody that we are available on all platforms out there. You can visit our website at safpodcast.com to check the show out. Check out our merch, blogs, everything sober as fuck, challenges. Please make sure you like, subscribe, review, comment, share the podcast.
We have coaching on our website too. That's something we always leave out. Yes. We have amazing coaches and there's something for everybody.
Damn straight.
Damn straight.
You got it.
You got it.
You got it.
So I doubled down today.
You did. I saw I think you're on the cutback plan.
I have quite the drinking problem.
You're down to two drinks per podcast.
Well,
usually
listen,
it's 3.
Okay, people can't see. I have coffee and sparkling water. Normally, I have like a caffeine drink, and then I have a carbonated drink, and then I have like a flat water because they each serve individual purposes. The coffee goes without saying, right? It's delicious and it caffeinates me. The sparkling water is because I like the bubbles. I like the burn because
good to know.
I hate myself. I don't know. And then flat water is chuggable. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like when you're really thirsty and you do the whole thing, you know?
Sound like a good dog getting sick. God, that's terrible.
Oh, yeah. So, you know.
That's why I spend $10 on drinks when we go out to eat.
You spend $10 on drinks? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, sorry.
But I just like to say that I'm proud of myself for only having 2.
Congratulations. Good job.
Thank
now, if
you.
we could do that in a restaurant, everything would be great. We'd probably save $4 or $5.
Fuck no. Hey, when I drank, it was worse because I'd have like wine or beer, and then I'd have water, and then I would have like a Diet Coke, but then I'd get sick of the Diet Coke and then switch to sweet tea.
So 4 drink.
Yep.
Nice.
I still do that sometimes. It's okay.
It's unbelievable.
Believe it.
Killing me. And our checkbook.
I don't think that kills our checkbook, but okay.
It adds up.
You know what? Whatever you say, boss.
That's
Whatever
right.
you say. I have another very random fact before we get to our guests.
Yes.
So before we started filming, I said, somebody's got a case of the Mondays because I like hit my elbow and shit happened, as it does. And it made me think of when I got a job in healthcare and my boss was training me, and it was one of those days where everything was going wrong, and it was a Monday, and I looked at her and I said, somebody's got a case of the Mondays. And she looked at me and she goes, huh?
I would have walked out. That'd be it for me. I could not work with somebody that has.
I mean, she looked at me like I was the most like stupid person in the world. And I was like, The Office, not The Office, but Office Space. I was like, it's a movie. And she just was like, so when you click on this, then you do this. I was like, okay, well, all right.
Jeez.
That was a very ADHD train of thought, but yes. I had to get it out.
I love it.
Thank you for listening.
That's right. Thank you.
So who do we have today?
Today, we have a friend of ours who's a fellow reframer, and I've been able to watch her journey, path, whatever you want to call it, over the past 2 years. Yes, she is over 2 years sober. She's become a good friend of ours, good friend of mine. We do challenges and stuff together on Reframe, which is really cool. So we're going to welcome her onto the show. Please welcome my good friend, Denise Koch.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey. I'm so happy to meet you guys and talk to you.
That's right. We're so glad to have you on.
I have a lot of drinks.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Water. I've had enough coffee today, but that's my standard too.
But you would have coffee sitting there if you hadn't had coffee.
I would.
So you get it. Oh, God.
I get it.
See?
It's like a 3-drink minimum.
Ryan, I think you're the weird one.
Maybe
Except for the fact that you have 2 waters. What's even weirder is, come on, show them. Show us your waters.
I have 2. They're
You know what's
both
in there?
flat water.
Flat water. Flat
Flat
water.
water.
He took a
Well-
drink out of this one, set it down, and then got the bottle and took a drink out of that and set it down. I'm like, at
I
least
didn't
my
want to
drinks
waste
are
all my
different.
water.
You gotta hydrate. Well, you know, when I go out to eat, if I get like a non-alcoholic beer, I'll get that plus a water plus a Diet Coke. So I have all the drinks, so I don't run out.
Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while, I'm like, ooh, that looks like a yummy mocktail. Maybe I'll get that too.
Throw that in there too.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
You gotta hydrate.
Look, we've come up in the world, okay? I remember like going out to eat and being like, you know, you get 1 drink because that's all you could afford. Now, maybe that's what it is. I'm like, I'm going to get all of the drinks.
Yeah.
Because I can. Who knows?
Adulting.
These are the things that we care about. It makes me happy.
That's right.
Well, Denise, over 2 years sober. Congratulations.
Yes.
by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Thank you.
Awesome. So give us the deets, give us the story. What led you up to joining Reframe, coming 2 years sober?
Who are you, Denise?
Who are you?
All right. Who am I? I joined Reframe in February of 2024. I'm in my 50s, so I got sober late in life, although I've tried many times before that. You know, I'll go back a little bit because I think it warrants, you know, who I am. I was surrounded by alcohol growing up. I mean, it was just like there. It was the thing that was done. You know, my dad's family were drinkers. That was the way kind of I knew how to celebrate Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, you know, whatever it was. His family was always drinking. And so I followed suit. I mean, I can remember a picture of me probably a year and a half old, sitting on my dad's lap with a mug of beer to my mouth. You know, I'm Gen X, so that was not uncommon back then. And then my brother is 4 years younger than me, so I was about 4.5, almost 5 when they had his christening. And I remember a picture of me, everybody was around the table. My mom was my aunt, who was the godmother, holding my brother. They were all toasting with this stuff called cold duck, used to be in the 70s, right? And I had a little glass of it. And I looked really happy about it, that I was toasting with everybody else. So I always thought that the first time I got drunk was at age 13, at my grandfather's retirement party, but it wasn't. It was much sooner than that, because I remember in middle school hitting my parents' liquor cabinet, going out, with friends with little, sneaking liquor. And that just continued through high school. The town that I grew up in is a huge drinking culture. I mean, we drank through high school in fields, had kegs in fields and snow. And I just did it. And it was normal. But I kind of knew early on that I didn't drink like everybody else. When I was on a drink, I was looking for the next drink. I had one issue when I was 16. I got drunk on New Year's Eve and kind of ran away. My mother was very upset after that incident. My aunt then, who actually gave me the drinks at my grandfather's retirement party, a whiskey sour fountain, was 2 years sober then. My dad's brother and sister have been in recovery for 42 years and have been sober for 42 years. And she drove me around, told me about alcohol and what happens, when you use it. Your inhibitions go down. It causes problems. You want to hook up with people, you use other drugs, things like that. And I just wasn't ready to hear that. I thought it was just teenage angst. And I stopped for a while. But when I got to college, I was in a sorority and I went to frat parties and I did all the things. But again, I knew, like, I didn't feel good about it. I knew that I didn't drink like other people. My 20s, I mean, the club scene was huge, in the 90s. And I went out probably several times a week after I graduated college to ladies' nights, and the volume that we would drink, I just can't even believe it. To this day, it was crazy. But I moved. So I moved to South Florida when I was 24 for a job, and I worked for a company that they partied. We worked hard. We played hard. So I continued drinking. Um, and I knew that I shouldn't be. Every time I drove, because I did drive. I thought, man, if I do that again, something bad's going to happen. But that continued for another couple decades. Everybody that has gotten DUIs have gotten DUIs for me. By the grace of God go I did not I haven't gotten a DUI, and I certainly should have. And I have a lot of guilt about that. Anyway, I got married. I met my husband in Florida when I was 27, and we got married in 2001. We had a good time. You start making money, you travel, you go to Napa Valley, you go to Hawaii, you're partying, you're doing all this stuff. And it was fine until it wasn't. I stopped in my 30s because I wanted to get pregnant. And I did get pregnant. I had a miscarriage. And I just felt like if I would have continued, trying and not went back to drinking, I probably would have been successful at having a child. But I wasn't, because the day I got home from the hospital, I drank a beer and smoked a cigarette. I was a smoker too for many years because my parents smoked. So everybody smoked in my family. And so we moved. My husband took a job in Colorado and we moved to Denver. I loved doing the geographics, right? I loved moving from Maryland to Florida. I lived there for 15 years. And then our company, the headquarters moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I wanted to go to Tulsa because I was getting a promotion. He didn't want to go. We had his mom still to take care of. So we didn't go. But then we went to Denver. And Denver, hey, they got a lot of good, craft beers, and there's all kind of stuff going on in Denver. But we were still smoking cigarettes, and I'm thankful that we moved there because it was right before I turned 40. I was like, what am I doing? I'm smoking. I had a lot of what am I doing moments. I can't breathe at the altitude here. Why am I smoking? So I quit, and I've never, picked up again. That was 2008. So I'm thankful for that, but I continue to drink. There was a lot of alcohol in my marriage, and I was having an identity crisis that I didn't have a child. I went out there on the predication that I was going to adopt. There was a great fertility hospital there in Denver. So I tried to, it was IUI, intrauterine insemination, unsuccessfully, because I was drinking. I don't know how I thought that it was going to work, if I was still drinking, when I knew years ago I had stopped for probably a year, that, I was in better health. My body was better. I was lighter. I gained weight when I drank. I couldn't maintain a weight because I would make poor food choices when I was drinking, and then I would eat the next day because I had to get rid of the hangover. I've done a lot of things as far as work in my life. I was a corporate manager. I worked for a rental car company in operations and moved up. That was the company that moved to Tulsa. But I never got quite as far as I could have, because I know that the drinking held me back. I know that I wasn't as productive as I could have been hungover. I did okay, I got by. That's what they say, you're functioning. But I always knew it's like, this is holding you back. But I couldn't stop because it was so ingrained in my culture. That's what I did. My husband and I did. I mean, my consolation prize out there in Denver was I went to vet tech school. It was during the 2008 recession. I could not find a job. And so I went to vet tech school, but I went there after I worked part-time at a jewelry store, and I got robbed at gunpoint. And it was a bad one. They took me in the back. Whatever you fear, that's what it was. But they took what they needed and they ran out. That was quite a trauma for me, and I didn't have the tools to get past that. The company that I worked for did send me to therapy, which was great. I did EMDR on the incident. I saw a psychiatrist. I was in therapy for a long time. But I was building up all these resentments, and resentments, we know, are bad. It kept me drinking. So then we're talking about, now I'm in perimenopause. I'm a vet tech. I love it. It's hard on my body now in my 40s. So I work 10 hours a day. It's laborious. And I would come home and drink. And it got to a point where all these things that happened in our marriage, we couldn't get past. We were both, unhappy. And so the long story short of that, we sold our house and I moved back to Maryland because I didn't know what else to do. I wasn't going to stay in Colorado. Being a vet tech was a secondary income. I could not support myself on it. So I came back to Maryland, and God loved my mom and her friends. They found me a cute little house to rent. I rented the house. And I kind of went crazy then. I met, I was hooked up back up with all my high school friends. I was going out all the time. I was hungover all the time. And again, I started developing neuropathy in my feet. I was still working as a vet tech. I had a lot of chronic pain, and I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which runs in my family. My mother had it. All of her siblings had it. A lot of my cousins actually have type 1. But, that's something that you do to yourself. And now I realize, hey, that was because of the alcohol, the way that the sugar metabolizes in your body. I got neuropathy, and I just wasn't healthy. I met somebody else right away after I moved back. Within a year, I had bought a house and moved in with her. I was in a same-sex relationship, and it was not good. It was toxic. I mean, we were together for 7 years, but I continued to drink a lot. She didn't like that. Her mother was an alcoholic, and we just weren't compatible. And so we sold our house. I moved into my parents' basement. And the reason being is that they were going to be in Florida for 6 months of the year. And I was going to be there alone 6 months. They were going to live with my brother 6 months, live with me for 6 months. I had an offer to purchase their home, which my dad took back. So again, I have all these resentments building up. And so I'm living in their basement. I'm miserable. It's the worst time of my life. I have diabetes and I'm trying, to lose weight. And my mother's health is deteriorating at this point. And I thought, so I was on a new medication for diabetes, and every time I would drink, I would get sick. Like, it would make me sick. And again, I had one of those, what am I doing? You're never going to manage your A1C. You're never going to manage your weight if you keep doing this, because I knew that's what it was. And I was mad at them, my parents, for not doing what they said they were going to do. And so anger and alcohol and resentments, I had to do something. And I knew that I had to be clear. And ironically, I've been to AA meetings before, and if I only had AA now, I probably still wouldn't be sober. But I am a big reality TV buff, and I watched the reunion of this one show that I loved. And one of the characters was on there and said, hey, he stopped drinking, that particular season. And he said, yeah, I use this app called Reframe. And I was like, oh no shit. Let me look at that, because I think he moderated. And so I pulled it up in February of 2024. And I was like, oh, I can use this as a drink counter, because I was on Weight Watchers for so many years. And I was like, oh, okay, I can track my drinks. I can limit my food. I can, I can do that. I can't do that. I started doing it. And then I'm like, no, I need to stop drinking, because I would stop for months, weeks at a time. But then when I decided I was going to drink, I binge drank. I went out and let it all out, let off steam. But so I downloaded the app. I stayed sober for about 28 days, and I was listening to meetings. I found the meetings right away. A lot of people say that they don't find the meetings right away. And I was like, this is so cool. It's not just about not drinking. They have all these different meetings about trauma, which I've experienced, which neurodivergence, which I didn't really know what that was at first. But anyway, I had a trip to Ireland planned in March. And I went to Ireland, and I listened to, and I was using the Reframe app while I was in Ireland, but not drinking in Ireland. The first time I was there was really too much to ask. Okay. So I moderated probably till the end of the trip. And then lastly, I was at a bar in Iceland, because I went to Ireland and Iceland. And, they scan your boarding pass, like, every time you buy something. And I was like, I don't, like, I'm buying too much booze. I had a long layover in Iceland, so I flew home. So I bought these minis in duty free, and I go into the bathroom and I'm pouring them in a soda. And I just looked at myself going, what are you doing? Why do you need that? What are you doing? So I flew home. And that was my last drink. I woke up, this time on this run. I woke up the next day, ironically, in Baltimore. I don't know if you're aware of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but the next morning that bridge collapsed. Mm-hmm. I woke up from my trip and I was like, I don't know what it was, but I'm like, this is my sober date. This is what it's going to be. So it was March 26, 2024. And I didn't drink. I was on Reframe. I didn't tell anyone. I had a hard time. That summer, I tried to do all the things that I normally did, like go to concerts, Maryland, where I live, is a water town. There's water, tiki bars and dock bars everywhere. And I tried to go. I did go, and I didn't drink, but I wasn't happy. I had to isolate for a while. I had to figure out if this was going to be forever. And I have a job now where I left. I stopped being a vet tech, and I went to work for animal control, which I worked there during COVID. It was very stressful. Compassion fatigue. Everybody adopted animals, and then after COVID was over, they brought them all back. It was tough. So I soon realized that I had to stop being so angry. I had to let go of resentments, and Reframe helped me do that. I signed up for a group coaching, which was like stress management, because I thought the reason that I wanted to drink all the time was stress, which it was not. And the coach at the time in those meetings said, Denise, have you ever thought about going to the neurodivergent meeting? Now, in the back of my head, as a kid growing up, I never felt comfortable in my own skin. I felt like something was wrong with me. Like I had dyslexia. I didn't learn like everybody else. And I used alcohol to alleviate that, as everybody says, social anxiety. You don't feel comfortable around people, feel comfortable in my own skin. So I did. Started going to the neurodivergent meetings. I had a coach for a while, and I forgot to mention that I did move out into a home during my first year of sobriety. I purchased a new home, and that made all the difference in the world to me. I needed my own space, because somebody in their 50s living with their mom and dad in the basement, I felt like a loser. Like, what has happened to me? So when I bought my home, it was like, okay, you're sober. I've never had alcohol in the house. Nobody's ever brought it over. So the first year was really just about not drinking and kind of discovering myself. And so then I thought, well, I need to find out about this ADHD thing, this neurodivergent thing, because I always thought that I was, right? I borrowed a book from my aunt once that said ADHD lost my keys, and I read it and I was like, yeah, that sounds like me, right? So as they say, in the second year, I sought out therapy. I got an assessment and confirmed that I had ADHD. And then I've been working with a psychiatric nurse practitioner to try to find, medication that would help me, because when I moved from animal control, I work for a different department in the county now, where I now have a desk job. And I was having a really hard time once I stopped drinking, like managing myself. I'm like, I can't focus. I can't, manage my stuff, because I was used to like multitasking, like running my ass off all day, taking care of animals, doing procedures or dealing with the public. And so that's why I sought out therapy, and therapy has helped me. And I've tried, oh my God, like 100 different medications. I have like a pharmacy in my house that I need to just get rid of these, because I try them and I'm like, that's not for me. That's not for me. I think I found a good balance now. But during the second year, I still struggle with cross addiction, transfer addiction, and it's not ice cream. Okay. It's not, it's not like sugar necessarily. I tried, okay, well, I never like smoked marijuana or anything like that. I didn't like it, but I was like, okay, I'm going to try this edible cannabis now, because it's legal, and I can see if that's going to like calm me down and just give me like a little something if I go to a party or an event and that. But I don't even like it. And I kept, trying it and trying it. I'm like, what am I doing? So, stop doing that. But I also got sucked into, having these social tonics. I don't know if you guys have heard about other people using them, but I would get these ads for, this stuff. I won't say what it was, but it had kava and kratom in it. And I didn't know what kratom was. but I was drinking it. I'm like, yeah, I feel calm. I feel relaxed. This is working for me. Then I found out, I knew some other people where their loved ones were addicted to it. And now it's this whole blown up thing about Kratom. And it's like, oh my God, how did this happen? Now I'm addicted to this stupid drink. So I had to get off of that. And then, I'm prescribed anti-anxiety meds. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking too many anti-anxiety meds. And now my thing is, I'm buying like emergency supplies, right? Because you're hearing all this shit about, oh my God, the power grid's going to go down. You better stock up on water. So I'm stockpiling water and solar radios and things like that, and these straws that will purify the water. I'm like, this is your addiction again. Okay. Even though it's like a real thing, that's into me. I get sucked into purchasing products so easy. Whether it's like, okay, magnesium, liquid collagen, which is all good for you. So I've kind of shifted to things that are good for me. But man, it's real. And one of the coaches, I would always say, it's like whack-a-mole, right? You get rid of something else comes up. And, I just try not to, at least now I realize it, right? I'm like, okay, stop getting water. Just stop. You'll be able to survive for a little bit on the water that you have. So, throughout this journey, then, a lot of the coaches, I think I can say they're from a 12-step program. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned before, I tried to go into those rooms before, and I'm like, oh, this is not for me. But I have really had a mindset change about it, because Reframe is great, being online, and I definitely have made some very good friends on this journey, but they're not here, in my town. They're not in the state, most of them. But I wanted to tell you that I did do a meetup last year in May. A bunch of us rented a house in Long Beach, California, and we went out there for a week, and it was amazing. We had the best time. We went to the beach, we went to Disneyland, and we didn't need to, you don't need to drink to connect with people. That was very eye-opening for me. I don't have a lot of sober friends in real life, so I started going to AA. My aunt and uncle go there. There's a lot of meetings in my town, and I go. And I've checked out different meetings. I've been going for probably a year. I have not worked the steps. I haven't gotten a home group or a sponsor. My intent is to do so because I really want to lean in. And I'm okay with the terminology. I know that for all of these years, somebody's been looking out for me, a higher power, the universe, whatever I want to call it. And I can interpret it as I want to and get out of it what I need. So I've been doing that, and I've met some people. A lot of them are older because they know my aunt, she's been sober for 42 years, and I go to meetings with her sometimes. Also during the second year of my journey, my mother passed away. I don't want to fail to mention that because that was really, something I never experienced before, but never experienced sober. My dad and my brother are drinkers, and they drank their way through it, to cope. My brother lives in Florida. He came up, and my mom was in a rehab. She fell and broke her hip. She had surgery. She was not in good health. She did not manage her diabetes. She didn't take care of herself. She barely moved around. And while I was there, of course, while I was living with her, of course, I tried to encourage that. But she And I'm the same way, like, do not tell me what to do. The more you tell me what to do, I'm not going to do it. She wasn't going to do it. She was a heavy smoker too. My dad and my father still smokes. Probably, they've been smoking for probably 65 years, which I think is ridiculous, but you can't do anything about someone else's addiction, right? So me moving out was the best thing for my relationship with them, because I could be over there in a few minutes. I moved in a house in the same town, but she fell and broke her hip, and I just knew something was coming. I just knew it. She was just in bad shape, and that morning, my father called me when I was pulling into work and said, your mother is on the floor, and this was at 7:00. She's been here since 5:00 this morning. And, I'm like, Dad, why didn't you call an ambulance? He's like, she told me not to. She was going to get up. So I sped over there. I called an ambulance. She fell. She hit her head. She went in the hospital. They did surgery. And, the orthopedic doctor and the physical therapist, the social worker, they all recommended that she go to a rehab. She did not want to go to a rehab. She said, no, I'm not going. And I fought with my brother about it, who was still in Florida at the time. I made the decision for her to go. I thought that she would get 3 meals a day. Her nutrition was poor. They would make her move around. And so, I'm carrying that because it didn't go well in rehab. Long story short, I pulled her out and went back to the hospital. She lasted for 10 days. They tried to get her well, and she just, her organs shut down and she passed away. And I felt so alone during that time, because again, my dad and my brother were drinking. That's how they coped, and I was not drinking. I did go back to using those feel-free bottles for energy because I was in the hospital all the time, and then I felt, of course, I felt guilty about that. Am I impaired? What am I doing? I do have those moments of clarity. So she passed away, and I didn't drink over it. I think I'm the proudest of that, because I don't want to feel this grief. And now I'm actually with my therapist that I started beforehand, which I think was kind of a divine intervention. We got to get you in therapy because this is going to happen. I'm doing EMDR, over grief, and it's tough, but it's been really helpful. The reason I mentioned the job I have now is because of the ADHD, and I was able to do my work and put on reframe meetings all the time. And I still do that. If somebody comes in, I'll mute it and we'll talk. I don't neglect my work, but I'm able to be on a lot of meetings because of that. I can't be on camera a lot of times, but I'm grateful for this community. As many people say, they have grief and loss meetings, which I got on right away after she passed away. And this year, without her, it's been 9 months, has been difficult. But a drink's not going to bring her back, and I know that, and I hope she's proud of me that I didn't go to that to cope. But I miss her. That's been the toughest thing. So now I'm in year 3, and I'm looking to meet more sober people. I'm looking to be the best version of myself, because I don't feel like I have been for so long. And I know that using other substances is that's just a substitute You know, they say you got to feel it to heal it. I don't want to feel it, but I am. So I think I'll reframe. I don't share too much. I did for a while. Now there's so many people that, have their hands up, but I tell you, it helps me. I go to the newcomers meeting every week, and to see where people are, I'm like, I could go right back there. And I'll tell you something funny. I bought this shirt. It says sober AF. When I first joined, because I would see in the chat people going, I'm 9 days AF. I'm 10 to 14 days AF. I'm like, what does that mean? 10 days as fuck? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So anyway, I bought that. I thought it was funny. But I'm here today, trying to lean into other programs. I live in a townhouse with my 2 rescue dogs and see my father as much as I can. And life is very different now. The friends I had, I don't hang out with as much. I have 2 friends that we've been friends for 42 years. We were drinking since we're like 15 years old together. So I still love them. I still want them in my life, but I can't, we can't do the same things as we used to do. So that's where I am. I guess that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
First of all, let me say I'm so sorry about your mom. My mom passed away a little over 2 years ago, and it is hands down the hardest thing in the world to deal with. So I can definitely appreciate the struggle there. And also something as you were telling your story that is actually very different from anyone else I've spoken to in recovery is your amount of self-awareness, even as you're in the active drinking, is like insane. Because I think everybody has moments, right? Like there's always that little voice in the back of your head that's like, oh, I know I don't need to do this, or what am I doing, and all of that. But yours seems like it was like up front. Like it was like you actively were like, what am I doing? And that is really rare. So that amount of self-awareness that you carried through, I think actually probably helped you from really getting that DUI and those things. It's not to say that you had it under control, but could you imagine if you didn't have that self-awareness, how bad it would have gotten, like how deep and dark? So, we all have a superpower. And I really think that self-awareness for you was your like superpower that kind of helped you survive. So I wanted to say that, like, I think that was really incredible how much you didn't lie to yourself in the sense of trying to say that you didn't think that you were doing anything wrong. I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm not sure that I've heard anybody else say that. I've heard people say things like, I knew, but I never would look at myself in the mirror and be like, you need to stop drinking. So I just wanted to say that was incredible.
Thank you. I feel like I always had great like self-talk. Like I knew it. I just didn't act on it because it's hard. It's hard to change what you're doing. So
because you've been doing the same thing for so long. It's like you just got to snap out of it. Even after 2 years, you're still, it's a daily thing. You got to go to the meetings. You got to get with the community, the connections.
The transfer addiction
that's what I was going to say. The transfer addiction. That was all right me.
Even now, like his working out is so excessive, and so the couple times that he hasn't been able to work out for whatever reason, not by choice, I must say, but by like force. He'll wake up the next day and be like, I feel really good today. Like my back feels good, my hip feels good, my knees feel good. I'm like, oh, it's interesting what happens when you listen to your body. And I joke with them, but it's some of those personality traits will never go away. And I think that's part of it too, is recognizing that we do these things, we go to the meetings, we go to therapy, and we have all these tools, but you can't and you shouldn't ever try to fundamentally change who you are. You just need to understand your brain and how you receive that dopamine, right?
Yeah.
Like you get dopamine from working out, which is good, but anything in excess is bad. Anything.
Right. Well, one thing I said to one of the coaches one time was like, I'm still trying to reach outside of myself to soothe myself, but it's an inside job, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And community helps with that too.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's the thing is you talked a lot about that community, and even though, we're not pro AA, anti AA, we're pro whatever the hell works for
Whatever
you,
works. I
right?
don't
Because
care. Yeah.
somebody said, and I'm sure a lot of people have said this, but any program, it doesn't matter what you do. If you work it, it will work. The difference is you have to find one that clicks with you, right?
Right.
But I always compare it to a cake. They all have the same foundation, right?
Yeah.
It's just so the ingredients, the base layer ingredients are all the same. It's just what you add to it that makes it different. So it's all about being honest with yourself, making amends with yourself and other people, recognizing that there are certain things that are out of your control, which comes in the higher power. The 12 steps, they actually work into every single program, just in different ways.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
ultimately, it's all about community. And that's what we tell people. Like, you don't have to go to AA. You don't have to do reframe. You don't have to do this or that. But, like, at least dip your toe in everything to see what works. Because I've also heard a lot of people be like, I was anti-AA or I was anti-this. But then once I actually tried it, I realized, oh, I resonate with this. And I think, too, more than you resonate with the program, you resonate with the people around you who are going through it. And that's where you really get that fuel to stay sober.
Yeah.
And, you talked about isolation, and that's one of the worst things that you can do when you're struggling,
Yeah.
I think we all have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I just wanted to be in a community. I wanted to be around people. And, there's always somebody worse than you, right? You're always going to hear, that's not me, but it could be. So that's the mentality that I have now. And I think that the 12 steps are really a design for living, because I have to be really structured now. And I know you talk about that, Ryan, where I have a routine in the morning. I got to do it, because if I get up late and I'm not a great journaler, but I do write a couple things in the morning. If I don't do a meditation, if I don't read my readings, which I read the reframe meetings, the AA reflection, and I read the Daily Stoic every morning. If I don't do that, I'm not in the right headspace during the day. And as far as plans too, I have to plan things, and if the plans get thrown off, it throws me back a little. I gotta readjust, because I got to know what I'm doing at all times. And that's what keeps me sober, though, keeps me
And I
from
love
drinking.
how you cherry pick things, right? Like, that's the beautiful thing about it, is you're like, I really like this part of AA. I really like this part of this, and you make it this melting pot that works. Yeah, like
Take what works,
that
leave the
is
rest.
awesome. I like that a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the routine 100%. It's been hard for me to dial back some things, because you go full bore, it seems like, the first year,
You have to.
because it's just I'm gonna get sober, and you're just riding this, what seems like it could be a peak cloud the whole year. It's a celebration every 10 days or 30 days, and then after the year, that's when the real work starts on yourself, and you start identifying other things. And then in this last year for me, it's been about really kind of tailoring back things that I wouldn't say don't serve me anymore, but it's like you do it so much, you feel like you may get burnt out on it.
Well, I think that
It's
first
just
year
scaling
too.
back a little bit.
Yeah, you have to be diligent about it, because
I was real militant. It was just, like Denise said, you get up in the morning, you wake up at a certain time and you got to do this, this, this. And as I've learned, especially after a couple of years, I was a huge planner myself. But as I come to find out, every time you make a plan, it never goes to plan.
Right. Right.
But when you're sober, you have the tools to pivot and adjust with the plan to meet your needs.
Well, and you have the resources that when something happens, not if, but when something happens or doesn't go to plan, you now have control over how you react to it.
Correct. Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that you got to learn the language phonetically, grammatically correct before you can play with it. So that first year, you are militant because it's also sort of a subconscious recognition of right now when I make my own decisions, I don't make good ones. So I need someone to give me a playbook or a script and say, if this is what you need to do, here's your schedule every day. Don't question it. This is what you do. Yeah. And then when all of that becomes habitual and then just your behavior over time, and that's the thing about it too. But it is very hard to let go of that. And it's scary because you're like, when I make decisions, I don't make good ones. So, but I also think some of that fear is good because it keeps you, like you said, going to, at any point in time, everything can change. But again, too much fear is detrimental. Right. It's hard. Life is hard. The whole point of this is life is hard. Okay.
Life is hard. It is. I know my brain, I repeat a lot of things that people say. I know the first thought my brain has is not the best thought. It's like, well, wait a minute. Let me think about that. And I have the ability to do that now. I even see that in my friends that they do not, like road rage and, yelling about this and yelling about that. I'm like, shit, I don't do that anymore. I let it roll off my back, which I was never like that. I was angry and volatile a lot of the time. And, I'm not,
Isn't
so
that a great feeling
I love that.
I'm so glad I don't carry around. Yeah. Like, I'm not always on the defense. Like, what am I going to get pissed about next? Right.
Right.
I'll still get that way every once in a while.
But you catch yourself.
I do. And that's been the biggest difference for me is catching, pausing, walking away. Even with the podcast, sometimes I always think, even though I may have something in my head, it's like, but do I really want to ask that question or say that? I pause and think about it before I talk. So it's definitely been some big changes, but as I've said in past few podcasts, I feel so at peace now.
And so much more in control.
Much more in control of everything I'm doing. Not everything around me, but everything I'm doing.
Well, and if you don't know what to do, do nothing, right?
Yeah,
and I mean that in a good way, not like,
silence is gold.
Right. I mean, and you apply these things to the moment, but like, if you want to get angry or you want to do this or you don't know what to do, literally just don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just stop.
That's how I feel, Jessica. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm so confused, I'm not going to do anything. And actually, my brain won't allow me to. I'm like, okay, we got to roll it back.
Because you would rather do nothing than react to something negatively.
Yeah. And one thing I loved that you said that I like to hit on is about, still going to the newcomers meetings, I think is huge for us, even though I think we're still very, very early on in our sobriety, just being a few years in. Mm-hmm. I still love going to those, listening to people, and I'm really way behind the scenes in meetings now, where I just listen all the time because I love to hear other people's stories, and some for the 1,000th time, which is okay. But going to a newcomers meeting, hearing that person within that first week, that first month, even that first 6 months, I never want to go back to that place again. And it's just that, and I don't know about you, Denise, but sometimes you get that little voice in the back of your head, just like, man, nobody would know. Mm-hmm. I wonder what that's like again. And it's so easy to get rid of that voice now, where it used to not be, because hearing that from other people really shuts that off for me.
I think about from a social aspect, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to go let off some steam. I want to go party my ass off and blah, 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 no, I don't. I don't. I
Yeah.
can still let off some steam. I don't want to go back to that because it was too hard. It's too, I don't, I, I don't have another recovery in me. I don't have another quit day in me. And so if I don't pick up, I won't have to,
Yeah.
So that's what I tell myself every day. And I try to I try to build my life around that look, that's not who you are anymore. Because I felt awful about myself when I drank. Awful. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that awful anymore. I don't wake up dreading going to work and dreading my life. That's the main thing for me because it made me feel so bad, about myself, have anxiety, and it's just like, oh, I'm so fat, I'm this and that, I can't lose weight. I don't do that anymore. And what was I going to say? Something one people said that I really like on Reframe. I can't remember. I don't remember. I think it was
I do that
something.
literally
Yeah,
multiple times a day. I'm like,
I don't
what?
remember. But I don't want to. But I don't want to go back to that. And I'm just so grateful. If I didn't find Reframe, I wouldn't have gone to therapy. I wouldn't have gone and got an ADHD diagnosis. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't even considered going to AA. I also like dabbled in Dharma recovery and led a couple meetings that I filled in for somebody. Um, and I don't really do that anymore, but it's a great thing if you want to meditate and read the book and read about Buddhist recovery. It's great as well. And I'm trying to do all the things. So
Mm-hmm. I heard you say about like I want to go party and I want to do this, and it's funny that you say that because like I remember going to the club like when people would actually like dance and it'd be
yeah,
dark and you're like I don't know what time it is, and I really enjoyed that part of it. Like without the alcohol, love that. And I always tell him just because I was a '90s kid, I'm like I want to go to a fucking T-Pain concert or I want to go to the club, but not to drink. I just want to like
right,
go and
right,
dance and
The
be
atmosphere.
loud
Yeah.
and be stupid. And now I would have so much more fun. So much more fun because I would actually be there and enjoying it rather than
Drinking
drinking
through it.
and well and also like getting that little bit of that uptick when you first start drinking and then it just now I feel like shit and now
yeah,
I'm gonna go puke and it never ends well. Like that's the thing is I found that what am I trying to if I want to go have fun and party, I'll just go have fun and party.
Yeah.
yeah. You're
You just don't
right.
need the booze to
I
do
just
it.
don't need the stuff to do it. And I'm in my 40s now, so I don't really give a flying fuck if anybody thinks that I look
Yeah,
stupid or crazy,
That's right.
okay?
right.
I'm running out of fucks, so I just go and be stupid and be like, I don't care. I'm 40, leave me alone. Back the fuck up.
Yeah, we got to run out of fucks at some point. I went to my first baseball game last month, the Baltimore Orioles opening day, and I didn't drink. Of course, it's all available to you, and then you see people, sitting around you, beer after beer after beer. They're getting louder, getting drunker, and I'm like, man, I want no part of that. But I enjoyed the game. It was fun. I watched the players. Otherwise, I'd have been in the beer line or the bathroom line the whole time. So
Mm-hmm.
who wants to do that? You
Yeah,
know?
that's something that really changed for me. Is I go to a lot of baseball games now, and I travel. I go, Cincinnati. I'll go to Boston. I'll go to Atlanta. I'll go to minor league games now, and I love
Cool.
just sitting down enjoying the game.
What's
And
Yeah.
really
I've never had that before. But I will say they now have a bunch of
NA
non-alcohol NA
options.
options at the games, which I think is really cool
I
and good
was
to
gonna
see.
say the funniest thing about him was, you touched on this. Drunk people get on your nerves now, like they irritate you because you realize how
Yeah.
loud and smelly and like they, whatever. And when we first started like going out to venues where alcohol was a big presence, he'd be like, is that what I look like in sunlight?
right.
Like, I was
Yeah.
never
I
that
was
annoying,
that
right?
guy.
That guy, I'm like, you were worse, my
You're
dear,
worse.
way worse, okay? Because I don't have to go home with that guy,
Yeah, that's
okay?
right.
I had to haul your ass home, okay?
Right.
But that realization, and we make a joke about it, but even though we would laugh, I would always see this like sadness and hollowness on your face, because it's that realization of like, oh God, like that's what everybody else saw around me.
Mhm.
Or like
That's
there
what
was
it
a
was.
concert here, what was it, last night before, I don't remember. And I get on Facebook and the first thing I see is a bunch of people after the concert fighting. Like just a bunch of people
Downtown,
fighting,
it's
and a girl
crazy.
gets knocked out. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like people getting drunk and getting in brawls. And it's like, listen,
Yeah.
I literally just want to go to a concert, listen to the music, have a good time, and go the fuck home. But that's never what happens. So you start to see that and you realize like, oh man, like I am so glad that is not
Not part of my
me.
life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have a few concerts coming up this summer, which I'm excited about to just really, get into the music. So
Nice. What
yeah.
concerts?
Foo Fighters in Washington,
hell yeah.
D.C. My favorite band, and I'm actually going to see Violet Grohl in Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Hoping that Dave will be there because we're all in love with Dave,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
We
awesome.
went and saw
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the first, if it was the first sober concert. No, it wasn't the first, but for my birthday or something, he got Alanis
Oh,
Morissette
Lance
tickets,
Morissette. Yeah.
and
Nice.
Joan Jett opened for her,
That was.
and
She
oh,
almost overshadowed her. She was amazing.
it was
She's
the best.
badass at 70
Listen,
years old or
I
whatever
know.
she
I was
is.
like,
Yeah.
Fucking rocks.
Yeah.
he and my daughter did not exist. I was just like dancing and singing, and I was like, she kind of turns me on at 70 on there with that guitar, like, what is going on? And
Yeah.
then Alanis
Yeah.
Morissette came out, and I've loved her forever. And I remember every second of that concert. And I remember I would look over at you, and you were having so much fun. And you were having fun because you liked the concert, but also having fun because I was having fun. And then our daughter's like, oh my God, my mom's so embarrassing.
It's
And you'd be
embarrassing.
like, leave your mom alone. And she's like, I don't know this woman. And you'd be like, shut up. I mean, and just the whole thing. And I remember every second of it, and you remember every second of
Yeah.
it. And then when it was done, like we came home and we were still on that like natural high of, oh my God, that concert was so amazing. And then the next day we were like excited to talk about it. And there was zero like, oh God, how stupid did I look? I know exactly how stupid I looked, and I'd do it again.
That's right.
Like, and that was the fun part of it. It was great
Right.
being in that
I
moment.
remember it.
And
Yeah.
it was so much more fun than any drunk concert I've ever been to.
Yeah.
You'll have a blast for sure.
Yeah.
Sober concerts are the way to go. I've been to
I'm
many.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Especially Foo Fighters. That's gonna be badass.
And here's the thing, none of us went for a drink. Like we were there for every single second of every single song.
Didn't even have to go to bathroom breaks.
Right.
It was pretty crazy.
And like
Didn't have to go to the bathroom. Didn't spend, $200 on alcohol.
Just on drinks. Oh
right.
God.
Yeah.
I remember going to the bathroom one time, like in between Joan Jett and Alanis, right?
Yeah.
And the line for the booze was longer than the line for the
which is
bathroom.
unreal.
And I'm thinking, they're going to spend half the concert just sitting here in line
Waiting
for
on drinks.
alcohol.
It's crazy.
It
Right.
was insane. I'm like, that's not fun for anybody. But gosh, you're going to have so much fun. Foo Fighters, I'm so fucking jealous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. I love them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have to see pictures. Take some videos and pictures. I got to see it. I'll live vicariously through you.
I will. Yeah.
Well, Denise, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Before we get you out of here, though, we do have to ask you the same question we ask everybody else.
Uh-huh.
You got to give us an old good drunken story.
Yeah, I have kind of like a gross one and like a funny one. I'll tell you the funny one. So I was home from college, visiting home from college, and I was at my friend and I were at a department store, and Madonna. We hadn't planned this, but Madonna was playing in Washington D.C. at, what was it called back then? The Capitol Center or something like that. And we're like, oh, should we get tickets? You could get them at department stores then. It was in the 90s. And she's like, yeah, let's get tickets. So we get tickets, we go, we're pre-gaming, right? And both of us have to pee all the time, even to this day. So we go in, and my friend's like, I have to pee so bad. And the line is a mile long. Well, we see this door that goes out to the outside, and she goes and pulls on the door, and security was like, what are you doing? She's like, sir, I have to pee so bad. I can't wait in this line. Can you just let me go out there? It was outside, like a sidewalk or whatever. And he's like, I can't believe he let us. He's like, okay. And I was like, well, I'm going too. And so we go out and pee in the bushes, knock on the door, and come back in. I'm like, wow. And we're high-fiving. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe he let us do that. It was funny,
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, and we underestimate how, as a girl, peeing is not very pretty.
No.
Okay? You're covered in piss the entire night.
Yeah.
Okay? But how cool is that? I totally would have peed in that bush.
That's right.
You
Avoid
don't
the line. I would be there in a heartbeat. I wouldn't give a shit.
Look, you have no idea how many times I've been standing in a line and I've looked at the men's bathroom and I'm like,
Do I want to take that
stalls
chance?
have doors. I mean, would anybody actually care if I was like, sorry, fellas, I'm not looking at your wieners. I don't care. I just need to pee.
I've done that.
Yeah.
We went in the stall. I'm like, forget this. We're going in here. Even at bars and that had lines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, in bars?
Yeah.
Listen, when I drank, I would have pissed on the bar. Okay, I wouldn't have cared. So I've been into many of a man bathroom, so I know firsthand how disgusting they are.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Denise, again, thank you so
you so
much. It was great to hear
Thank
your
you.
story. Really
Thanks a lot.
appreciate sharing everything with us, and I'm sure I'll see you at a meeting later today.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you guys do. I'm so, happy to be a part of it. I'm honored. So thank you.
We couldn't
Thank
do
you.
it without
We're
you.
honored. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
You're the reason. Thank you so much, Denise.
Take care.
Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
And hit that notification bell to get
Boom.
notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby. Work.